Batman versus Superman. The Dark Knight versus the Man of Tomorrow. A battle many comic book fans and average moviegoers were waiting for decades. And it's here. And it sucks. And there are several reasons for why this movie failed. And I think one of the biggest aspects of why it failed is because it sucks. But it's also because the writing and direction is some of the worst that you can find in a comic book film. In my opinion, Zack Snyder didn't really know what he was doing with these DC IPs, and also failed to bring them to life in the big screen that previous films already succeeded in doing. To me, his interpretations of these characters are some of the worst brought to film in DC history. But that is not what this video is about. This video is about one terrible scene. The trial scene. The fucking pee in the jar scene! So to understand this scene, let's first try to understand Lex Luthor's motivation for the actions he takes in said scene. Lex Luthor wants to get revenge on Superman for the destruction during Man of Steel, which ended with the death of his father. So he wants to ask this US senator if he can get kryptonite. Sounds somewhat easy to follow, but she says no. So what does he do? He then goes to a man who lost his legs during the same attack and asks him to sue Superman so he can get the senator in the same spot, but also blow the place up and paint Superman in a worse light than he already is. Now, what is wrong with this plan? This plan is relying on so many things to happen at once. He is relying on the senator to be put in charge of this case. He is relying for this guy to actually go through and sue Superman. He is relying for him to also take the chair that has the bomb on it. But what is worse than all of that? The fucking pee in the jar! I will never understand why it is there. So, for this to be here, let's go into a deep dive here. In order for him to do this, he would have to pee in the jar prior to the case. Then also put on a tag that says Granny's Peach Tea. Then he would have to walk up to where he knows she's sitting, set the jar down, and then dart out. Because he's not currently at this court because he's blowing it up. And she doesn't realize that this is what he's doing until she notices the pee in the jar. And I only bring up this jar and highlight it because we never know why it's there. It doesn't do anything to support Lex's plan. He just put it there because I guess he just can. It makes no sense. And that's why I wanted to highlight this scene. And we're not even done yet, because when the building finally blows up and Superman is left standing in the rubble of what used to be the Capitol building, and he's also standing around corpses of the people he was just standing in a room with, and he just stands there sad and flies away. There should be no world where Lex Luthor's plan actually succeeded perfectly. But it did. Maybe that pee in the jar has something I didn't know about that was crucial to making this plan work. I could dark on this movie for minutes. Maybe even an hour. Because it is by far my least favorite comic book movie of all time. And I don't see it getting topped anytime soon. One bad scene.